All right, let me get this on board. On board. And we should be good. So let's go here. Doing this does leave E6 for later, but right now it's not a huge concern. Nice approach here. Without, like, obviously I can do H17 later. But that's actually not a huge concern right now to me. I don't know how to answer that, actually. I think you just do this. I don't think that was the right move, but I do think this is the right answer. You know, the thing is, like, actually, no. Q15 might have been the right answer. The problem with this move right now is that there is this move. And then you can do this. I'm not going to bother to answer that. I'm just going to jump up this way because I don't necessarily need a base down there. This is going to get very interesting. I think he should have kept on extending. It's going to get extremely interesting here. Even if he lives down there. Oh, this is such a big win for me. I don't actually care if he lives down there. Like, I legitimately don't care if he actually lives down there at this point. Um, I'm not going to answer that. I've already achieved my goal like 1,000-fold here. So it's not really all that important. I'm going to actually extend this out. This stone isn't that big. I think I'm going to do this first. Repincer first. I don't think that's a good move. You know what? I'm going to try it anyways. Now I'm not as afraid. I'm just going to go ahead and take this. This is a lot of points down here. This is pretty, like, overall, this is very, very damaging for him. Because I've basically got all the points down here, and I still have this invasion later. Which I'm probably going to take advantage of very soon. Okay, he just took care of that invasion. Sort of. I still have this. I think I probably shouldn't have played that just then. Not yet, at least. That was a bad move by me. Should have done something else first. But I will keep on attacking this group, I guess. I should have played out here first. That was my mistake. This move also serves to lessen his influence here. I think this is the right one. I'm not exactly sure. It's playing a dangerous game here. I don't think it's that bad right now, but it is kind of playing a dangerous game because he can actually separate those two. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like solidify this over here. Make sure like there's nothing wrong with yeah, like a move like that. I don't know how valuable these are right now. That's a wrong move.
You have won.
Yeah, it's so once he does this, my computer's frozen. So once he actually does this, let's just say he moves here, this move becomes available now. Because if he doesn't actually answer, if he doesn't actually do anything, like I can just go here, and that's actually going back. So that actually opens that up. Let's go back and review this game. I definitely made several bad moves. I most definitely made several bad moves. This is fine. I do that. He does that. Remember, like this move is always a possibility when you have this kind of shape. If you actually just connected this, it wouldn't have this possibility. Like, so when you have this shape, like H17 and F15, H17 and F15 are both possibilities for that shape. This is why generally I actually prefer just connecting instead of that. That's a mistake. I mean, like we've gone over this multiple times. This is the way to really. This is the way to play this Joseki, and especially like in this case, it's a good way to play this Joseki, because you can do things like that, and really kind of like, or even just like do things like this to really kind of like get your shape going here. And there's a lot of potential up here because you already have this thing over here. So I feel like you would build the potential over here, and that's how you should actually play that. Partially because that's a Joseki, and partially because you already have this over here. Yeah, this is going to be the right move. This is definitely going to be the right move. You want the overhead move. It does put, the overhead move does put pressure on white, and it like white doesn't really have a good place to go if you do the overhead move, because down here he still has to block in order to make eye space, and you force him to like, you basically force him to make your shape stronger. Doing that, letting white come up now, like let it, white has this, since white has this stone, your group here is now somewhat at threat. It's not really at threat, but it's somewhat at threat. Doing this, obviously I'm going to go down there. I probably should have just connected this, honestly. I definitely should have just connected that. That's not a good move. You definitely need to do that. Coming up here, like if I connect, this is still a thing. I mean, I definitely wouldn't do this right now, but like if I was black, but this is still a thing. Like you can still, even if I even if I connect this, there is still this cut down here. I probably wouldn't connect that anyways right now. Not exactly sure what I would do, but I might like fix something down here, and then like there's options as well. So the thing is like you need to do this because white actually has two cutting points here that he needs to fix. White has two cutting points here that he needs to fix, and this like doing this just makes your shape much better. So obviously I'm gonna block doing that. I'm gonna obviously Atari this way because my thing is like if I even if I give you this entire side and I get these few and I get this territory in compensation, it's a big win for me. So up, I do this. Um, take obviously I'm gonna do this. You have to connect. Now I connect. Now like this group is in danger, and there's not that much that you can do with the influence over here. So okay, I'm gonna do this and cut in here and completely wrap you in. Obviously, I'm just going to take that. Like, I could opt to fight the Ko, because realistically, if I opt to fight the Ko, black could just be dead here. This is not a true. This is not a true eye. If I opt to fight the Ko, he could actually be dead here. But there's no like to me like this is such a big win that I'm okay with him actually living this. So I'm just gonna go over here. I don't think I needed to do this because if he did this, I could just go down. I could just if I didn't need to do this. I think that was a waste of a move right now. If he does, I should have just like done something like this or something. If he does this, like I can just go this way. It's not a big deal. That's my mistake. And that, I guess that was okay. But I mean, trading this move for this move is black's advantage. Come up and then get this Atari first and then go elsewhere. It ended up being pretty good for me. At this point, I'm already up by 20 points because obviously black only gets this corner. I destroyed this side and I have a lot of thickness over here. So he pincers, I repincer, which is probably a bad idea. I probably should have just gone ahead and done this actually. Like, this is okay. This is fine this is actually fine for white because white gets the free corner. And even though black gets this influence, there's not that much potential to expand over here and there's no groups to actually threaten. So I think I should have just went ahead and taken the corner. But either way, I repincered. I don't really know about this move because you already have a stone here. So this obviously puts more pressure on the stone. I might have been able to do this, but I didn't really want to. I think that was a little risky. So I jumped up. If I did this, I'm not exactly sure because this obviously doesn't work for me. And that doesn't work, but I mean like doing this I don't think is actually beneficial for me at all. I'm not really sure how this fight actually works out, and these two stones are basically sacrificed, so I don't really like that at all. So obviously I didn't go down there, I just went ahead and jumped, he jumped as well. Now I'm going to go overhead. I was looking at this move, but I don't think this actually works out that well for, well, yeah, this, I don't know if that works out well for him. Because if he does this, this obviously doesn't work because I can just kill this. And if he does this and then connects, if he just does something like this, I can obviously just do this and kill him as well. So that doesn't really work out very well for him. So I guess there's really not much to be afraid of for this one. Yeah, and this, I don't know. I feel like that's not very good for black either. Because that would actually kill these stones. Atari up here, you just do kind of like the reverse here. So that wouldn't really work out for black either here. So he couldn't actually do that. The fundamental move to do here is this. He probably has to do this, and then you would do something like this. If he does this, you just do this. And that kind of like takes care of you and leaves him with a weak group. So I probably made a mistake. I probably did make a little bit of a mistake by doing this, although not much of one. Obviously, I'm just going to take the territory down here. It's a lot of territory, and he still has a weak group here. That's fine. Atari, that takes care of that. He does that. This is fine. That's actually a pretty big mistake by me. I should just leave that alone. I definitely should just leave this alone. Because it's giving him too much territory. Right now, this doesn't work. Right now, this doesn't actually work. Obviously, I can't really do anything with this. So right now, it doesn't really work. So it's just giving him more territory. It does have if he does this, there's a lot of use for the future. But right now, it just doesn't really work. So that's why I left that alone. Just went ahead and did this. came down. I'm just trying to threaten this group, but there's always this move here, which I'm a little bit afraid of. Obviously, like me doing that, if I was black, I would immediately do this. This definitely threatens these two stones. And it's not easy for me to, it's like at this point, like I don't have this jump here. So like I don't have this extra move here. Like I would still do this, right? But I would have to do this, and then like this, something like this would be pretty hard for me to get out of. So I would, if I was black, I would immediately do this. But doing this, letting me have the jump and then doing this is less effective now. First of all, that's a tiger's mouth. So I don't like, after I Atari, I don't have to spend this extra stone. So now it becomes like Sente tiger's mouth instead of Gote tiger's mouth. And that's like really, really huge. The cut is always there, but I should have just let this until later, honestly. This is not a good move. I should have just not done this and played this first. Because this trade is bad for white. That move is not any good. It gives you the obvious Atari over here. Of course, I Atari this, but like in this case, you would either do this or wrap around here. You're probably not going to kill this group. I mean, it's very, very difficult to actually kill that group. If you try to do this, like there are problems later. Yes, it is a little bit in danger, but I don't think it's really that bad. Because I think there's ways that white could actually make an eye there. But obviously, like Atari, extending is a huge mistake. Like, I would probably play J7. But there is definitely a point to be made for F8 as well. White would take this, and you could play J7 afterwards, let him live, but then you have a pretty big advantage here. Yeah, but the thing is, extending is obviously a big mistake because if you extend, I'm going to continue to follow, and then you extend here, I'm going to do this, and now you don't really have a good way to respond. You connect, I'm going to do this, and then I'm just going to come down, you do this, I get the territory, and you don't really have any way to attack me. Plus, remember, M9, sorry, M9 is still a Sente move, because if you don't answer M9, if you don't actually answer, well, I guess M9 is not really a Sente move, because you can just like kill me here. So yeah, M9 is not a Sente move, so M9 doesn't really work. But there's still not a very good way to handle this, you know. Like I don't exactly know how you would attack this group, because these three are weak. You have a weak group here, and white's just way ahead in territory right now. So definitely, like I think one thing that could have turned the game around is, well, you don't do this first of all. But outside of that, like when I Atari here, you can't extend. You either do this or you do this. The thing is, at this point, it's okay to let white live in here as long as you can gain advantages by attacking his group. And even if you do this, there's no saying that white's absolutely alive. I mean, he probably is, but there's no saying he's absolutely alive, right? And also, like, the big mistake here, I think the mistake here is doing this and letting me do this first before doing this. Because if you just did this like by itself, I mean, like, I would have to do things like this, and these trades are generally pretty good for black. So to me, like not cutting off at first is a little bit of a mistake as well. So that's the review of this game. I'm going to play one more. I'll wait for 10 minutes to see if anyone accepts the challenge. If someone accepts the challenge, we'll go with it. If no one accepts the challenge, we will, in 10 minutes, we will go somewhere else, I guess. Not a lot of people watchers today. So I'll wait until 4:48 to see if anyone wants to play. I wonder if like I would get more viewers if I did Twitch instead of YouTube, but I kind of like YouTube more than Twitch. It's more comfortable for me to stream on YT. So 4:48. You know what, I'm going to actually reduce this to like take I'm just gonna go up to 5Q. Remember, these games aren't going to affect your ranking because it's non-ranked. So I'll take the 5Q to 12Q. I don't mind. I don't mind going. I don't mind like playing like slightly better opponents. Obviously, it's perfectly fine for me. I'm probably just gonna end up moving like 5Q, 4Q. Like I'm probably gonna just move up the upper rank higher and higher. I don't mind playing like more serious games.
Game started.
All right, here we go. We have another game. Time constraints, I'm just used to 10, 30, 30 because it's just like it's fast enough where like I'm not constrained. It's fast enough where really I'm not constrained. um, I don't play like 3 hour games because I can't. I personally don't really like going here. I still think I don't think this is good for black. I don't think this is good for black. I don't think black gets enough out of it. I can always choose to come out later, but there's not very much territory here. I'm going to approach on this side. This is the right way to play it. It's trading territory for influence. I actually favor black. I mean, it is about equal, but I actually do favor black. In this particular trade. Me being able to do this does decrease the effectiveness of this influence a little bit. And this stone already being here, I don't really know about that. Because it seems a little bit redundant to do something like this. Yeah, that's probably the bigger move. I still think I might as well just do this. See what I can get out of the corner. Probably not much. That's probably not a good move, actually. I should have knights the other way. That move is a little too greedy. Move is a little too greedy. Yeah, that's what I want. I probably wouldn't have connected, honestly. It's kind of like what I wanted. It does like get his influence up here, but I don't think that's all that important. There's very little territory down here, by the ways, and not that much in here as either. I'm just not going to play it right now. See how he responds to this. It's probably not a good move right now. There's a lot I can do in here. Like coming up here would be pretty big. In terms of like absolute territory wise, I'm actually ahead of him right now. But it's really I might have been better off. Definitely might have been better off just jumping here instead of doing that. Is it hard to learn? Go is a complex. Go is a very complex game. It's I would say like conceptually learning is probably a little bit harder. It's a little harder than chess. I am perfectly fine with this. This gives me a lot of territory down here. If you give me all the territory down here in exchange for a chance to make the territory here, I will take that all day long. It is sort of hard to attack this specific group. I will say that though. Like you're giving me a ton of points down here, and it's not very wide up here. And remember, I still have this over here. So there's no points down here for him. That's not good because you don't want me to get that Atari. Usually I would be okay with this move, but letting me get that Atari is a very bad idea. He's not really in danger. I don't think I can kill him here, but he's also kind of like, if you really look at it, he's kind of like squandered his influence as well. He has kind of like squandered his influence. That's just the lack of reading. So he didn't really get anything out of building this wall. Like, at this point, you basically traded all the bottom points for very little up here. So that's why that's not very good. By the way, those of you watching, if you have questions on the game, I can't really read the chat while I'm playing, but afterwards, if you like, just leave the comment in the YouTube video on like what moves to make. I will answer within a set amount of time, I guess. I think like the thing is I think a lot of people know the Josekis, but they don't really understand like the true point of the Josekis. The Josekis are meant for even trades, so you can use influence in different ways. If you, for instance, like if you give me this bottom territory, you build up this wall, and then you don't really use this wall to get anything, and I don't have to sacrifice anything, like that like big trade there is actually really good for white. The point of this wall is actually to, either attack. The point of this wall is to attack and use the influence. Like for this, white is very happy to do that because there's not too many points over here as a whole. And if you're going to try to attack this group, I'm just going to go here. I will give you this territory here because I got all the bottom here. So you have to look to see, you have to understand like how you're trading. You really have to understand like how you're actually trading. And like how much you're getting versus how much your opponent's getting. I think like some people just fail to understand that. And so like there is a thing here where he can play he can play F10 and then go into like here, which would be pretty troublesome for me. So we're gonna just fix this problem here. I don't know if that's the best move, but I'll make it. There's not that much territory here. I'm going to take this because this is actually really big. He has to spend... The thing is, like, the value of the stones, he has to spend 1 or 2 more moves to solidify this territory. And I think, like, the moves I'm making elsewhere are just simply, like, going to add up to more value. It's really all about, like, at this point, it's really about, like, the value of the stones that you're playing. If your opponent's moves are more valuable, you're just not going to win. Like, he's trying to get this pocket of like 15 points in here or something, but it's actually really hard for him to get. It is very, very difficult for him to get these points. And if you really look at it, like...
Challenge received.
I'm probably not going to play another game after this. But like, if you really look at it, like just by this move, I've gotten just about as many points here as he did here. So like, he made a. I think this is pretty much an equal trade, but he had to give up this corner here. So that corner is worth maybe 10 points. So of those, when he actually, when he actually traded that, that's a net 10 point. Like the moves here is like a net 10 point loss for him. So those are the things that you. Those are the things that you really truly have to consider. I think there's another move here you can make. Yeah, that was it. I don't really know how effective this is, though, right now. This was probably what he was looking at, though. Because he can actually... Yeah, you would definitely break this. I'm just going to do this. There's no reason to do that. So the whole point of that move is to actually cut here. Doing this, there's really very... I mean, he broke the couple of points in here, but like I said, there's not too many points in here. There's like maybe 5 or 6 points total in here. And I still got a couple of points here that I didn't have before. The whole point of doing this move is to cut and try to break off this group. That was the whole point of that. I don't think it would be quite as effective because there's a good chance I might be able to make 2 eyes in there. You see, like, it's Gote, and he basically got maybe like 6, 7 points extra in here. But the thing is, he gave up this corner, which is already more than that, and now he has to give up this Hane, which is going to be just as many points as he actually gained here. So like, that's fine. That's actually how I'm. That's basically how I'm edge. That's how I'm basically taking a bigger and bigger lead as this game goes on. That is how I'm taking a bigger and bigger lead as this game goes on. You didn't need to do that. This is actually pretty big. Because I can squeeze back, and there's a couple points down here, but I just didn't want him to play this move. I don't really know why you did that. See, like, see, the problem with this particular move is I don't have to answer that now, because if you disconnect me, I can just simply like do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Sente and do this. So if you do that, I can just do this. So there's very little point in this move right now. So so like right now, you just gave me another Sente. And that is actually pretty, like, that's going to be pretty devastating. Like, these kind of mistakes in the end game are going to make a huge difference in how he has to fix this, by the way, in how much you're actually winning or losing by. Like, that doesn't make, like, that is pointless because I can just do this. He's lacking a liberty right here. Like, he can do this. He can do this, right? And I can do this. Yeah, but the thing is, here I can just connect. So he didn't get anything there. And he gave up like this Sente. This is Sente, by the way, if you didn't know. And then like if he has to repair this, I mean he has to repair this first. And then like these Hanes are going to be really big. I'll save that one until later. This is also pretty big. If he Hanes here, I do have to retreat because I don't want to fight the Ko. This is not that big. Like, since he already did that, I'm just not going to do anything there. Yeah, he didn't need to do that. There's like 1 point, but this is problematic because he actually does need to repair this. Obviously, oh wait, no, he doesn't need to repair that. That's my mistake. Never mind, my bad, my bad. He doesn't need to do that. That's my bad. It doesn't cost me any points though, so I'm fine. I can play the Ko here, I just don't really want to. Do I want to play this Ko? I don't think I do. I don't really have to, I guess. I can just go around the bottom. I think that's what I'm going to do. So go around the bottom. I don't have to play that. Yeah, do I want to play this Ko? I don't really want to play this Ko. I mean, I can. I guess I'll play this Ko. Why not? Why the hell not, right? Alright, he has too many Ko threats. He has too many Ko threats for me. I don't really want to play this guy. Let's go down. Let's get the corner points as well. It's really not that big. Now I'll go ahead and do that. There's a couple of points in here, but there's not much. I think I can kill him here. Whatever. But now he can't, like, because he killed this Liberty, I can actually make this move now. If he had this Liberty, so this was a bad move. If he had this Liberty, I couldn't make this move. That is Sente for me, because he does have to connect that up there. So now he didn't have any points in here. It's a big difference. That is a big difference. He doesn't have any points in there anymore. That he should definitely connect. And I don't really know what else is there. There's nothing here. I don't think he needs to connect this, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this anyway, secure myself a couple points. Didn't need to do that. I mean, a lot of this game was actually lost in the closing. I wasn't really ahead by that much when we went into the end game. Because I don't really have any large groups of territory. This is fairly big, I guess, but it's not really that big. Take what I can first. I am going to connect this. Get a couple points here as well. This is a possibility for 1 point because that's a Ko, but this is a solid 1 point, so you would do that first. Just like this would be a solid 1 point. You would play this ahead of that. Yeah, you would play this ahead of both of them because that's actually 2 points. And you would play this because that is 1 point. You would have to fix this down here if that wasn't true. You would take this coat first because you're going to have to connect that anyways, but it's not crucial right now. So that's all the points there is left. There are no points there, I don't think. I don't believe there's anything there. Because if he cuts, I can just Atari this way, and there's nothing there.
Pass. Remove the dead stones.
About 27 points. I don't think
You
I was
have
actually.
won.
I don't think I was actually ahead that much before the end game. So we can go back and review this game. Like I said, I mean, this is not a bad trade. I just don't know. Well, actually, I mean, according to Katago, it's fine for black. I feel like I shouldn't do that. I might be better off like doing this. I'm probably better off doing this now that I think about it, because black doesn't really get anything if white does this. So I feel like that's probably the right move for me, because you can't do this. I can just come up this way. So I guess like, yeah, I made a mistake there. I'll make a mental note of that. That's not bad. Trade. I'm going to go over here. This is the way it's supposed to be played. I think over here, I don't know, like I want to use this wall somehow, so I don't know if I would actually approach over here and let white do this, because letting white do this is kind of awkward, right? Because this is actually kind of awkward. If you don't use an extra stone to actually repair this, like this invasion is definitely a big threat, but if you use like an extra stone, then I feel like it's just kind of redundant. So I don't really know about that. That's fine. This is not a good invasion. I should have just done this. So I think black's best move is to do this. This really, really constrains white. You can't kill, there's no way you can kill white, but there's actually no way you can kill white, but it does restrain white to basically make life on the corner. And this is like, if you do this, this is definitely very, very good for black. So I feel like this was a bad move. I do this, he connects. I also wouldn't have connected. I probably would have just done that. I don't think this is such a problem. Because remember, these stones aren't alive yet. Those stones aren't actually alive yet. So black does actually, like white does actually need to be careful. If you do this, yeah, like the thing is, so white doesn't have that many, white honestly does not have that many liberties. White really does not have that many liberties, so I feel like white's just in a bad position there. So when I poke, I would at most, I, I wouldn't connect. I would at most do something like this, or maybe just like jump here. Because now this isn't really that much of a threat, you know, like, I guess it is. But mean, this isn't bad for black at all. This really isn't bad for black at all to do something like that. So I wouldn't have connected. This lets me jump here, which gives me some bottom territory. So this didn't end up bad for me. Coming here, I like this move, but I guess it's not all that crucial. Black did not need to respond to that. I think black would have been better off just doing this. Hane, he has... Now, when I Hane, he does have to respond, because like you don't want someone to get this Atari move. So he basically gave me a Sente just by responding. So I Hane, he does that. And now I'm going to invade here. I think like the AI wants me to do this, but I'm not familiar with this move. So I just invaded down here. He does that. I feel like I would have been better off jumping, because I think that forces him basically to do this, and I'm perfectly happy with this. So I come up, he does that, I'm going to go ahead and do this, he does that, I jump up. I'm actually okay with this. There's not that much territory over here for black. There's really not that much territory over there for black. I'm actually really glad when he does this. For Katago, Kata counts this as the AI counts this as an even trade, but I'm actually very happy with this trade. I'd much rather have the bottom territory and see what he can actually do with the upper territory. He's giving up like 10, 15 points down here, at least. And remember, this doesn't really have any points because I can just do this. So if you're going to, the thing is, if you're going to do this, you probably should just keep on doing this to build your influence up here. Because if you do this and let me curl up, not only did you not get much territory here, you also destroyed kind of like the purpose of these 3 stones. Because now there's no really influence up here. This group is actually kind of weak. So the thing is, like, you have to understand how your stones actually work together. Coming over top with these 3 first, and then letting your opponent come here makes no sense because it just doesn't work. Like you're destroying your own influence that you've been trying to build up. So you got to like make your stones actually work together. And like you have to know like what the purpose of doing this is. The purpose of doing this is to get the upward influence and secure this group. But now since you forced here and let me come up, you don't really achieve any of those goals. And you didn't get any territory down here because I can just do this. So yeah, this is the biggest move because that would solve a lot of problems. There's like what the AI is saying is there's not many points up here. It doesn't really matter. So like me doing this move is actually kind of bad because it doesn't really matter and it could pose more problems for me. So, and also like the AI is just telling you to like do this because it's telling you to do this to solidify your shape up here. Because once again, there's not much territory up here anyways. And the thing is like, you have to like look at like how many moves would it take me to solidify this territory and how much is it actually worth? I would say this is worth maybe 15 points up here if you manage to solidify all of this, but it would take you 2 or 3 moves. So right now it's really not worth all that much. So you let me come up here. That's not a good move for right now. Obviously it's not a very good move for right now because you definitely need to do this. You can't let someone Hane that. Because if you think about it, if someone Hanes that, now this group is looking much worse than before. Then you cut, I'm going to extend. And I don't know what exactly you're going to do with this right now. I'm just going to force, and then I can Hane it. Now this, if you do this, like I probably am in a little bit of trouble, because now I have a bunch of groups that are disparate, and I can't really do anything. Like I can do this and come out. But the problem, but the real problem with this is if I do this way, now you can attack this group very, very easily. Realistically, I don't even know if I have enough liberties to fight you right now. And plus, you're essentially, this is like black is in a much better position than white, I feel like, right now. In terms of like eye space and stuff. I would probably go ahead and do this right now to see what I can do. Maybe do something like this. Although I don't know if this is a problem or not. Yeah, this would actually be a problem. Although, like, not really. I guess, like, if you do this, I can do this, and then go this way. That would actually work for white. But you can actually attack this group that way by splitting these 2 groups and forcing me to basically do something like this, you can much more easily attack white this way. And plus, like before you do that, you can do things like this. I would probably try to get a Sente by doing something like this, but this isn't exactly Sente because now you have this move. If you do this, then like I can just do this. But the thing is, like, you have to figure out some way to attack me right now. Obviously, this is just a really bad misread. You can't do that. And once you do this and you see me do this, don't play this out because you're just giving me more points by doing this. See, like, in my opinion, like this move's exchange with this move favors white because white gets bottom territory. Black really doesn't get anything from this move. Once again, like, there's not that much territory in here. So there is the preponderance of this. I'm not really sure if people are actually aware of that. In the future, there is that. Right now, it wouldn't work because I can just do this, and obviously this gives you a lot of problems. But in the future, you can actually, that thing is a move. That sequence is actually a move. Now I'm going to fix this because I really don't want him to end up doing this later on. I would come out this way though, and it really doesn't work right now, but in the future it could become a big problem, so that's why I kind of like did this. I don't think I needed to right now, but that's probably a bad answer. Like, I think this is probably a better answer, but I didn't want him to get this for free, so that's why I did that. It's probably just a bad move by me. This is big. That's why I did this. This is like, quite a few points. And I did this because I didn't see I saw like way more value in this corner than like this territory up here, and this group wasn't in danger anymore. I do that move. He responds here. I wouldn't bother responding here. There's just not enough points for me to respond here. I would immediately do this. If he does this, you can think about going here. I don't think this would work for black though, so it probably doesn't work here, but you would have to calculate that out. I either would do this or I just wouldn't bother responding. There's just not enough points here for me to respond. Here, so this is obviously a mistake. Like the whole purpose of doing this move is to do this, letting me cut here and then basically doing this, cutting me off here. This is the whole purpose of that. But I'm not really sure if this would actually work right now. There's actually quite a bit of eye space here, and I can do like all sorts of like random stuff here to make some to make some eye space. So there are like a couple of problems. There are definitely a couple of problems if I end up doing stuff like that. So because you obviously can't go this way because this actually causes a lot of issues. So essentially, like if I do something like that, there's at least an eye here, and there's probably an eye down here. So it's very hard to kill this group. But that kind of like defeats the entire purpose. Here, I would probably immediately do this because this requires demands an answer from white, and there's no reason not to do it. It's Sente for black. He got a couple of points here. That's pretty good, but I still say like he made 2 extra moves to do this. Like this particular like thing down here is bigger than this, and then of course like this plus that is going to be way bigger than what he actually did. He spent a lot of moves down there. I basically got a lot of the big closing moves. So like I was actually ahead. I was actually ahead before, but now I'm just like I've increased my lead throughout the end game. So basically, like I want to say on this game, like the most important thing is like the mistakes actually made here. And you have to know how your stones work together. If your stones don't work together, you're probably not going to win. So that's the game for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button, and I will be back tomorrow. Well,